Hey, Computer Science 1P50 students, Ian Gordon here to present a library seminar for the winter 2004 term for this particular course. Tim Rabark helped me with ideas and formatting, and I wanted to acknowledge his contributions to this seminar as well. I'm a teaching and learning librarian in the library. I'm a geologist by training. I work with faculty, staff, and students in applied health sciences and math and sciences, including computer science as well, doing research, finding things, collecting things that we don't have in our library, a variety of things. If you're ever in doubt of how the library can help you, reach out to me. And at the end of this particular seminar, I'll show you where else you can get help as well. Here's an agenda for what I'm going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Computer Science Library Research Guide, a jumping point to many things for the assignment for this particular course and for other related courses as well. We're going to talk about databases. There's lots of them and probably more on the way than you'd want to know about. But we'll talk about how and when and why you'd use those databases. We're going to talk about citation management, which is how you take a citation for an article, a source, a book, an idea, a contribution, a web page, and track it, keep it, then use it as you communicate on your research findings for this assignment and other things as well. We're going to discuss what does it mean to be information literate. It's a big part of this particular course. And we're going to wrap up by saying where, how, and when to get help. Let's jump in. Let's look at that research guide. If you go to the library homepage, there's lots of things here. Omni is on there, and if you click on advanced search, you can search for things in our library. Library hours. On the top, there's tabs for lots of things you can search for. And then there's icons for your library account, a print, study spaces, citation guides, research guides, and on the bottom, there's events and workshops that are updated all the time that you can take for free, digitally and in person as well. Let's click on the research guides icon because it brings us eventually to the Computer Science Library Research Guide. This is a guide that's put together by myself, and it's got a copyright to it and a computer license license. On the left-hand side there, you can find articles and things about articles, books, great literature, borrowing from other libraries, and additional course guides. On the left-hand side, here's the chat widget that we use all the time, and when it's closed, it says send an email, but it's open now. Email to help support. And then in the middle, it tells you what this guide is for. And then where the arrow points, the Computer Science 1P50, this slides for this presentation, including the YouTube video that you're looking for as well. If you look at one of the tabs, I'm going to start with the Great Literature tab as well. It talks about databases, definitions, patents, which we're going to talk about, but are really important in computer science for copyright and protective rights for ideas, technologies, and making things. Standards are almost equally important for our standardization of how you create something, you document it, or you provide details for other people to use that are standardized. Thesis and open educational resources, lots of resources. Gray literature are things that are kind of grayish, hard to know what they're used for. Under the definitions tab up there is the Dictionary of Computer Science, Dictionary Plus Science and Technology, the Online Dictionary of Computing, and the NetLingo Dictionary. Those are ones that I link to. I use them all the time. Click on one or two other things to find a definition or an explanation of something. They're quick and dirty things to use as well. But if you go to Open Educational Resources, I wanted to bring you to these shortens to describe what they're for as well. It opens up a number of databases that you can use. Ontario, BC, Open Textbooks. They're teaching tools and databases or collections that you can use to find things that supplement, complement a textbook or text-related materials as well. I'll give you examples. Some of your professors will have OERs or Open Educational Resources. They're great resources. Here's an example for one for a Brock course that was listed. So it's in lieu of a textbook, but adds supplementary data. You can look at it anytime. They're open and free to use. Here's an open educational resource about Think Java, how to think like a computer scientist. You won't use it for this course, but maybe you say, oh, this was essential. I can look at this on my computer, on my laptop, screening device, your iPhone, or any other type phone as well. Here's another one just to show you. There's thousands of these. An open guide to data structures and algorithms. If you were taking a course on this, it may help you to define terms, provide examples, definitions, or learning exercises as well. So think of OERs. Great literature. Let's look now at theses and dissertations. They're things like master's theses, PhD theses. They're not quite scholarly, but they're creations of people doing master's or PhD or dissertations. They're really important. They tend to capitalize new and emergent themes of research, interdisciplinary tools, and they're captured here because they're not like books and they're not like articles. But here's an example. If you go to the page here, it looks like the Brock University thesis. So any thesis done by dissertation by a Brock student, they all go here in digital format. You can look at them in full text for open. Canadian and international theses. So there's different databases for different types and nationalities and regions of types of theses and dissertations. Well, here's an example. Thesis by a famous professor here at Brock, a teaching assistant, Dr. Bork. I found it. It's in full text. It's an educational dissertation. There's a citation as well. So interesting read. Equally, I found this dissertation by another professor, your course professor, managing and using provenance in the semantic web. They're copyrighted, they're categorized, they're written, and they're codified, and they're free and open. They're difficult to find, but they're essential tools for not this course, but in finding things that you may want to use. Theses and dissertations are really valuable. Definitions, and besides the 4 dictionaries and tools that are there as well, if you click on the definitions page under Grade Literature, there's all these sorts of these definitions, meaning like part of an assignment, you need to define something using scholarly resources, just not your own opinion or off the web. There's multiple places to search for, but there's a number of tools here that you can use to find definitions, and you may look at 3 or 4 resources and say, oh, no, yeah, I like this one as well. Here's an example from Oxford Reference, which includes all Oxford University Press dictionaries and encyclopedias and handbooks. It's really amazing. So I wanted to find a definition for copyright, found it. I can cut the text, I can point to it, I can link to it, and here's a citation that I use for that as well. Really neat tool. Oh, another definition, I wanted to look up mate choice in computer models, and I found this essay or scholarly paper that was in a handbook of human mating. Kind of interesting. Note that it has a link, a DOI, an ISBN, which is an International Standard Business Number. So numbers describe collective works. You can download it, you can open it. It has proprietary access, so you have to move through it through the Brock proxy access, but you can use it and pull a quote, just to learn more about it. But again, definitions are really important. Finding a review essay like this one or a handbook entry on this one maybe help to pull the literature up to a pertinent point. And for undergraduate students, dictionaries, encyclopedias, and handbooks are really essential in kind of describing key concepts or pointing to quotes that you may want to use as well. Zotero Bib, if you don't use it, there's the URL for it. I pulled the DOI for this particular entry in the handbook, and at the bottom I choose APA as a citation format. You may be using other style guides that are easy. Some of them are in the databases that work quite well, but Zotero Bib is increasingly, for me and other ones, an easy way to use and create APA citations and any other style. I'm using APA here, and there it is, and it looks kind of right. So we've gone through Grade Literature, the welcome page, books. Books are really important, especially in computer science. Sometimes books are edited, meaning they collect several papers on a theme, or books really are conference where how the papers are put into one book, different types of things for different tools. There's different databases, and engineering and physics relates to computer science, but Omni and O'Reilly, there's others, Google Books and WorldCat. WorldCat at the bottom answers the question, kind of like an Amazon.ca for books. What books have ever been published on my particular topic over the past 50 to 100 years? It's really a comprehensive tool to find out what other things are right there beside the books that are Omni for our library and all Ontario libraries as well. So there's lots of books that you can get. Here's the theme. I look at ChatGPT and ethics and cheating, and I found, 8 books. The University Ethics is a scholarly book of essays, which is really important. O'Reilly book on applied text analysis with Python. A coding book. On the bottom right, A Gift of Fire is just a general reading book. And there's other books, including Unleashing Creativity with ChatGPT. A really neat cover, but these books, the title and the metadata that goes with them helps describe them, but you don't know until you actually look at it and see what's relevant. So for your exercises in this course, you may not need to use a book, but a book or a paper or an edited contribution, a chapter in a book, maybe just what you're looking for as well. Thousands and thousands of books are published each year, and the Brock Omni Catalog doesn't include most of them. And there's things that you may find that we don't have. If you ever come across something that we do not have, we can show you how to get it and use it, whether it's a chapter, a paper in a book, or the book itself. Ask the library, we can show you how to get it, or ask us to get it for you, and we can buy it and put it in the library in digital format, then inform you, usually within 2 or 3 days, that this book is now available for you and for everyone else as well. So here's a book, Robots in Care and Everyday Life, Future Ethics, Social Acceptance. Looks pretty interesting. It says it's open access, meaning it's free and open. Here's a chapter called Trustworthiness, and it has a DOI, and I put it in chat. It's a Zotero bib, and I found it, and here it is here. You know, on the front page, on the bottom, it tells you who the academic authors are. It tells you their institutional affiliation. It tells you there's a copyright, and there's a DOI and ISBN for this particular book as well. So lots of metadata and computer language that describes this book in addition to the content that you may or may not use. If you look at this book, this is some of the metadata that goes with it. The numbers and the licensing and the contributions that go for it. And on the right-hand side, Robots in Care and Everyday Life. This is the metadata for that particular book, just the description of it. And it goes for pages and pages and pages. Again, there's a standardized format, and computing sciences metadata is huge. Now you discover, find, and describe a particular creative or intellectual work, whether it be a film, a video, books and journal articles all have this sort of metadata as well. And people in libraries, this is what we work with mostly. Metadata, it's data about data. It describes the characteristics of the information. It's not the actual thing we're looking at, but the coding that makes this information discoverable by Google, other search engines, other databases, and resources as well. So metadata is an important computer science concept. So here's the book again. Here's the chapter, the PDF I downloaded. I highlighted this quote that looked interesting. I want to include it in my text for my article. And then I reference it as well using chat, Zotero bib as well. So there's the paradigm. Look, find, evaluate, critically think whether it's relevant. Is it information? Is it scholarly? Is it peer-reviewed? Is it worthy of my contribution? If you want to include a quote, a citation, capture it and put it to one side, but always track the citation or the citation management of this particular work as well. Also, I just want to put you to, if you pull together the Zotero web for Word, if you look on the top of the Word document, it has this icon where you can add citations as you move forward. So in combination with Zotero, you're writing your Consider Science 1P50 essay, and you say this quote or this citation. As you put in the citation, it automatically adds the citation in text, and it adds the citation in the reference list at the bottom of your article. So once you've written your paper or your assignment, you have your references all written in code forming as well. Some people find this life-changing. Contact the library if you want to know how to do this or get it or show you through a demonstration as well. Really important. So back to this book, it's neat. Not only does it have metadata and numbers that describe it, but it has copyright. So it tells you the copyright, that symbol is the authors, which makes sense. It tells you that the book is open access, and then it gives you a link to describe what the copyright involves and the licensing is described as. It tells you how you'd use it and not use it as well. And for every creative work, scholarly works, whether it's a thesis or dissertation, a book, a film, a video, copyright is always applied. Even your own essay, you should consider copywriting it because it's your own creative content as well. Copyright is really important. It's a legal term that describes and determines the power that creators have over their artistic, scholarly, and literary works, anything they create. It describes rights and how the content can be licensed and used, and it's essential for all works. Copyright is a huge topic in computer science. So went back to Zotero bib, put in the ISBN for this number. It looks like that, and I used APA again, and it created the citation. Looks pretty good again. I use Zotero. There's other citation management systems like Mendeley, NWork, RefWorks. We use Zotero here because it's open and free to be used. You can download it and put it on your laptop or your phone. I produced a file for Computer Science 1P50. I added that entry automatically, and I didn't type anything. Zotero knows to find this metadata and adds it on the right-hand side. Then you can add notes to this, tags to this, pictures, graphics, and it all links to this one particular entry as you look for a number of things. Noting that in Zotero, or you do your research, you find 13 things, 10 look interesting. You critically evaluate 5 of them look important, and you decide on 2, but they're all in Zotero. The nice thing about Zotero, it documents and tracks everything that you've done in this, other courses, and it's your content forever. So you can look back on it, what you used, what you didn't use. It's a citation management tool. So back to books you can use. Omni is our record for our Brock library. There's other databases you could use. So it's on our front page. If you click on the advanced search, it allows you to search for Brock library, things in titles or keywords or subjects. I put in the title of this book. I clicked on the resource type books. You can click on things in English. And you can look for things outside Brock. If you click on the Brock library plus Omni libraries to get things from other libraries, we can show you how that works. But I'm looking in the Brock library and I brought up this particular entry. So we do have it. It's available online. It's available in print format. It's upstairs in the library. You can sign it out using your Brock card, but it gives you 2 sources to find this particular book. Here's the metadata that's publicly available for this particular entry, a title and author. Subjects, look how many subjects describe this entry. So if you found this book, it's kind of like pointing, it's like buying shoes on Amazon.ca. You like these shoes, they say, would you also like these shoes? Or you bought this pair of pants, you'd also like, it kind of says in an indirect way, these are other subjects to find other books on related topics as well. Description is an abstract about the book, and the contents, it actually has the textual chapters headings for each particular book, and then the identifiers at the bottom. Each one of these elements has a certain formatting, a standard, and they're all searchable. So you can look for anything on any particular book using any series of keywords, subjects, or words. Another concept that we talk about in computer science, and especially with libraries, is information as value. Recognize the accessibility, meaning can everyone see it? In every particular piece of computing application, in every language, and every region around the world. It describes the value it has to authors and creators and to the people that use it. And it also talks about privilege. Information has privilege as well. Information communicating ownership and ethical use without bias. So value talks about those sorts of things as well. And value also talks about rights for both creators and users. Let's get back to books. So lots of things. I use Google Books all the time. If you click on that link and you look on the limited preview in full text, as I did, I put in the title of the work. So I look for a book. It's for, let's say, a book in print we have in our library, but I don't want to come into the library to get it. It's for a book we don't own, a book I can't find. So sometimes if you look on limited preview and for books, for the book that you're looking for, it brings up sometimes parts of it or maybe all of it. So here's the book I looked for, and gives you some metadata. Here's a quote I got from it. It always usually gives you the chapters and the tables of contents. It kind of tells you, do I want to look at this any further? It's a good idea. So Google Books supplements Omni and what we have in our library and what's available free or open on the web. Articles. Okay, so we've talked about gray literature, books, the welcome page. And so most people are saying, I need to find articles for a particular topic, which you need to do for this course. It talks about peer review. Hope you know the concept of what peer review and how it adds to the validity of scholarship of the works that you're looking for. There's new and open databases out there all the time, and especially in computer science with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. There's more than less databases that help you to do your research. Some are disciplinary, some are format driven, some are just new and different or robust, meaning they add different ways of doing things. Lots of those sorts of databases. There's preprint databases like archive.org that have a depository for manuscripts that eventually become articles. They're free and open. There's news and there's Google Scholar. There's lots of articles that are here as well. So on this page, I've got 6 databases I think you should start out with and use anything. Google Scholar, I always start with. Web of Science Core Collection is a database of core journals in all subjects: science, technology, engineering, medicine, humanities, and social sciences. Core are journals and all their articles. So it's a good tool to start with. And it's a good place to go because they all are scholarly peer-reviewed journals. And there's a number of computer science databases we won't talk about as they deal with software, as they deal with ideas, as they deal with processes, as they deal with the use. And so there's lots of computer science applications and an equivalent number of databases that are all scholarly, and they're quite amazing as well. If you go to the Brock Library and you go to the tab that says search, and under it you go to Brock Digital Library, and then there's the databases that you can click on, or Google Scholar. But if you click on the databases link that's there, it's within our IP domain. It lists 415 databases in alphabetical order, by subjects and by types. So go here if you want to search a database, because it pushes you through the Brock proxy access to authenticate who you are, a member of our community. If you're in the library or on campus, it automatically assumes you're in our IP domain, so it knows this. But you click on the database and you move through it so that everything is good. Never pay for a database, never pay for an article. And if you have problems, always ask us, we can help. So 415 databases. Which ones do I want to choose? Wow, lots of choices. Also, if you're off campus, always move through the proxy server, and this is what it wants. But this page is kind of important. You kind of know this when you're setting up your iPhone or your mobile device or your laptop or computer at home, your desktop. You move through the proxy server, but here's a page, and here it is, but here's how it's coded. So in the library and computer science, coding, programming, is really important. It changes all the time, and we have to keep up to date for security, for cyber reasons, for information display regions. Computer science has so many subdisciplines. This is an important one that we in the library take seriously. Create pages that are readable, accessible, screenable, harvestable, and authentic, so that they aren't fake resources as well. So we code as well in the library. Coding and program, they're written instructions for computers and other hardware. They're the practical translation of ideas, images, and text for computer applications, like the picture below. They're used for data compression, networking, cryptography, error detection and correction, data commission, data harvesting, and so lots of pros is a huge part of computer science is coding and programming. So the research guide points to many things as well. But let's talk about database, because there's lots of them. And here's my listing of databases of those 415 that I use all the time. The ones in green are open databases, meaning you may have to register for it, but they're open. There's no costs involved, like Google databases. But the content should link if you have to pay for it. Never pay for it. But if you have to access it through the Brock proxy server, you can do that as well. And the ones in black are proxy databases, meaning they're ones that Brock Library pays for. If you move to the proxy access, there's no cost, there's free access. So there's a distinction between open and green and black and proxy databases as well. But which ones do you choose? Well, there's about 20 there atop. They're divided by discipline, by format, by currency, by robustness. So, wow, it would be nice if we could just use Omni for everything. Well, you can, but there's other databases that you can use as well. The mid-range databases, Google Scholar, ACM, are the computer science databases that most people use. Some are green or open, some are black and listed on the computer science articles tab. For you, this assignment, for what you need to do, Google Scholar via the Brock proxy access is what you should use. Academic Search Complete is a great database that has core journals, core articles, core magazines. And Web of Science Core Collection, like I described, has core articles that are scholarly, peer-reviewed, that will meet your requirements for anything in this particular course. So there's 3 sources of those 415 that I would suggest you use. So we're back to this article tabs. If you click on the news tab there, that's kind of neat. We have 25 news databases. Some are Canadian, some are generic, and some are historical or archival news. So that's kind of neat. Not really applicable to computer science, but there's what news databases can use. But there's other resources that you can use as well. So here's those databases that are listed. Open and free to use. You may think to use them or not use them as well. So I clicked on news and I found this article. It's in Toronto Life. ChatGPT, YA may spell the end of university as we know it. Oh my God. But it's citable, it's usable. Critically thinking, is it appropriate? Is it scholarly? Can I use it for my assignment? These are questions you should ask yourself. Here's another article. It's despite cheating fears, schools repeal ChatGPT bans. It's a New York Times news article. And there's a quote that I use from it as well. Sometimes quotes from news, color, supplement, complement are good hooks for introductory for essays as well. You may not use it for this course, but news databases are really important as well. They serve a purpose. Here's another news article. Are chatbots citing real fake news? It's a Toronto Star article, and here it is in full text. You could quote this in your text, or have it part of an introductory text or a graphic that you may want to use as well. So news can be applicable for what you need to do. You need to evaluate whether it's appropriate, scholarly, and whether you can incorporate it in your research or your ideas or your project that you're doing now. Whenever I do a search, I always start with Google, and I put in words like phrases, and you can only put so much in. You can truncate student, or you can put in phrases. And on the right tells you some of the things that I found. Interesting things, but are they scholarly? Are they reputable? Are they appropriate for your essay? I always start with Google because it helps to inform me of how do I craft my search strategy for the research topic that I'm looking for. I also go to Advanced Google. If you never search Advanced Google, there's the URL. I look for words and phrases. And at the bottom, you see where the arrows are. I look for words appearing in the title of a page. And I usually look for PDFs as a file format because most scholarly reports, book are also in PDF format. And so what it does is when you click on Advanced Search, it transliterates these decisions into the top line in Google, all entitled ChatGPT file PDF. And here's some of the things I found. Journal articles, reports, they may be interesting as well. It's like Google on steroids, but it's more appropriate because you get to filter it for words and titles, if that's what you want to do, and PDFs as well. Finally, as you went back to that homepage for Google, you go to Google Scholar in our IP domain, or you click on the Google Scholar database or your research guides, you can bring up Google Scholar. So the reason why you bring it up in our IP domain or you move through our library pages, because it's Google Scholar. On the right-hand side, you can see all our URLs. So we try to link what you find to things that are in our library. If you did this outside the Brock IP domain or you did it by yourself, you wouldn't have these sources as well. And the arrow in the middle, it brings up and sorts the records that you find. And I put in words and phrases at the top, and things look here interesting. ChatGPT and medical imaging, higher education. You can save it. On the right-hand side, you can create an account if you have a Gmail account or a Google account. It's kind of, you can build a profile and a parking lot to put these things as well. You can look at cited by, who cited this article since it was published, and other sorts of information as well. So it's a great source. Like Google, Advanced Google, Google Scholar is always the first three things I do whenever I'm looking for an idea, just to see what's out there. Is my language working or not? Can I think of alternate words or spellings? And you may just use these. That's okay to you, but Google Scholar using the Brock proxy access is really a valuable source. I found this article. I read the whole thing, the abstract, the title. It has a DOI. I put it into Zotero Bib. Am I going to use it? Well, I'm going to put it to one side and put it in Zotero. So you find a number of things that may be appropriate. I'm going to stick it in my file. I just put the ISBN or the DOI in here, and it automatically adds it to my file. I can look up another article, but you have to ask yourself, how do I know whether this article is credible, scholarly, if that's the criteria I'm looking for, worthy of use in this assignment, and if it's peer-reviewed, meaning peers, scholarly peers have actually vetted this article, so it adds to the body of knowledge. It's not fake news. It's not disinformation. How do I know? Well, you have to judge that for yourself. And does this article have all the elements of being scholarly and peer-reviewed? Well, it has a title. It's in a journal. It has institutional addresses of the authors, an introduction, looking good, and it moved through the peer review process. Meaning, if you look at the article, it says it was received in January 2009, was reviews and revised in June, then it was accepted in July 2000. So it went through that peer review process. And there's a citation I got from Zotero Bib. So when you're looking at, do I use the library resources, the Google resources? Well, the best possible is to use both. Google, the library cultivates the content more closely on the way in, meaning when it's grabbing it. The library comes from additional putting one thing in one place, whereas Google kind of looks at the world differently. Google finds the value of relationships between documents and items. You never know what it's searching, but it finds things. And Google treats everything as a web page, more or less, rather than different file formats and documents as well. So there's distinctions between the two. So what's in Google? Well, Google Scholar's there, but only a small part of it. And only the relevant stuff that we're looking for is very little of it is actually in our library or useful as well. So beware, be critically thinking. Google formats and changes information in different ways, sorting and measuring the interaction of different things. That's how Google works. Google has a ton of natural language processing abilities, which allows it to talk to you and it to talk with you. Library platforms, on the other hand, are not so much built like that. They tend to use Boolean operators, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So there's distinctions between what the library puts together in these scholarly proprietary databases and what's out there open on the Google formats. One database that I didn't point to is called Elicit. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you could use it. It's free and open. I don't think you need to register for it. No, maybe you do. Well, you'll find out. It's free and open to use. So it uses natural language. I ask, is ChatGPT AI-driven software a threat to academic integrity in higher education? It found and wrote using ChatGPT a creative paragraph and cited 4 papers that are there. So it's a one-stop shop using natural language, not like a library tool. Whereas you go to the Brock Library databases using any one of these particular tools. I use Academic Search Complete, and it has a different type of search engine format. I hope you can see the difference. It doesn't use natural language. It uses keywords and phrases, as you can see here, but it uses Boolean operators. So I looked up ChatGPT or ChatGPT as a phrase or large language model or modeling of models in field. And I said, well, I got too many. Let's narrow this down and put in the word cheat. Any word with cheating, cheats. That's where the shift asterisk works, or the phrase academic integrity. I found that worked out. I limited the results. I still got too many. Then I finally put in the word college or university or the phrase higher education. That's what the British call university or colleges. And I narrowed it down to 39 articles using file format, using language and date. And is 39 too many or too few? Well, or is it just about right? Only you can determine this. And I looked at each one of these articles. Boolean operators are really important. Boolean operators, and, or, and not. So I want to find everything on film and theater. I want to find things on film, but not in the theater. I want to find things in theater or theater, however it's spelled. So Boolean operators from a computer logic perspective are really important in library-related databases. See how they work? So here's an article I got from Academic Search Complete. It has the metadata of authors, the source, the subjects, which are interesting. This is how they describe the subjects, an abstract, and it pulls the data, metadata from the article itself as well, including the DOI. I put that into Zotero Bib. This is an ongoing theme. It created a citation format and APA, if that's what I choose to use. Pretty good. And I pushed it into Zotero. So I created a file. And when I've got 12 or 13 things, different things, and it includes the metadata I can look at now, but it keeps track and it documents what you've searched. You may not use all this, but at least keeps a record of, instead of downloading everything you find on your laptop or your computer station or your phone, it keeps a record of it so you can verify it and valid and note and tag it. So here's an article I found. ChatGPT and Education Global Reactions to AI Innovations from that Academic Search Complete search. So the full text is there. How do I know what scholarly review? Well, it has a method section. What did they do to find the data they look for scholarly endeavor? It has tables and charts. Here's one figure that looks interesting. It has a conclusion, meaning it concludes on what it found and how it adds to the body of knowledge. It includes citations because it's building on the body of knowledge. And it was published because it adds to this body of knowledge. And it's new and it's innovative. It has a license. Here's that license and copyright that's right there as well. And it has a citation I use Zotero Bib for as well. So it looks pretty good. I could use this as part of my report, my findings, or the assignment that you have to do for this particular course. Think critically, evaluate it. Only you can determine whether it's appropriate and if it meets this test. So here's an example. Is ChatGPT AI-driven software a threat to academic integrity in higher education? That's my research question. Maybe it's yours as well. There's different concepts. I picked up 3 concepts, and I'm going to look at those and divide them because it's a library database. I have to think logically. These are the 3 particular search concepts I'm looking for. I put them into a graphic format, so I'm looking for everything in ChatGPT and academic integrity and higher education. And there's 4 searches here, so I can look at everything on ChatGPT as it deals with academic integrity, ChatGPT as it deals with higher education, academic integrity as it relates to higher education, or all 3 concepts together. So there's 4 different types of searches here. It helps me provide structure in how I search and build a search strategy. So I translated my research question or my thesis into concepts, and then I put together and I've OR'd together synonyms or concepts that relate to each one of these search concepts. So the language is there, keywords and phrases. And at the bottom, I put in ideas. I usually write them down: fake news, fake citation writing, turn it in, risky, problems. So I thought of other words that may be working as well. My goal here is to find 5 or 6 articles that would help supplement, complement an assignment, a lecture, a lab, or a project that I'm doing. So sometimes I go to the Gray Literature page here, and if you click on the definitions page, I can use one of these 4 dictionaries. I mean, there's other ones, but these are 4 great ones. If I click on the definitions page, there's all these tools that I looked at, and there's Word Hippo that's listed here. I use Word Hippo all the time. What's another word for cheating? And it provides 6 or 7 pages of interactive buttons that helps me discern words I'm going to use alternate to cheating. It's like high school student, adolescent, teenager. What words do you use for different concepts? Well, English isn't perfect. It involves natural language, even if you're using a library database. So it's difficult to use. So Word Hippo is a great resource to find alternate words and phrases you may not have thought of, and spellings that you may want to use as well. So here we go. I translated my research concept, my search strategies, into all those different variant words. So I'm ready to search. So I'm looking for scholarly articles. I think back to 2021, so pretty current. I'm only looking at things in English. I'm going to try Omni first. I'm going to use Google, Advanced Google, and Google Scholar. But Web of Science and Academic Search Complete, I should be able to find at least 5 articles. I'll probably find 20. I'm looking for keywords and titles, meaning the article should have these words. So that's kind of a search strategy. I'm certainly going to use Zotero Bib and Zotero to track what I've done and what I found as well. So Omni is here. You can use Search Omni, putting ors and ands, looking for things in the Brock Library that are articles. And I found a number of things. It's a pretty blunt instrument, but it works if you need to find 1 or 2 things. I searched Web of Science Complete. I looked at everything on ChatGPT. I OR'd all those search concepts together, found too many. Then I said, I'll AND those with another search concept, academic diary, or cheating. Again, look at the Shift 8 asterisk for truncations and phrases with quotation marks. And then finally, I looked at higher education and college or universities, and I found limiting by articles that are scholarly, things that are in English, and things that were since 2021, 166 items. And you may go, well, that's too many or too few. Well, serendipity is still a research methodology, even in computer science. Of the 166 references, I may find 5 that are really bang on, but it's your critical evaluation whether they're appropriate. On the right-hand side, you can sort them by relevance or by date or by other measures. On the left-hand side, you can filter by a number of sorts of filters, or you can search within these results. Anytime you find an article, you can click on the link, and every database is the same, and add to a marked list, meaning you have a parking lot where you go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like this one, and put them to one side. So of the 166, you can send the citations to 0 of the 10 or 12 or 13 that you found as well. If you found an article, here's the title, and it gives you a bit about it, gives you a bit of the abstract. It says that there's 47 references at the end of this article, but there's 9 citations that have cited this article since it was published, which is interesting. We put our links in there to find it at Brock or the publisher. But here's a full record. It has a DOI, and it has an abstract. By this, you should usually discern whether it's appropriate or not. On the top, it says find it at Brock or the publisher. Or what I tend to do is I cut and paste the DOI, which usually starts with 10, put it in Google Scholar. I just find it by clicking on the link on the right-hand side as well. And it also helps find other articles as well. Here's the article itself. There's a chapter on a section on weaknesses, which is neat. There's a comment I want to include. I want to cite it, and then I use citation Zotero Bib or Zotero, and I include the citation there. Pretty neat. Web of Science also allows you, for the 13 things I found, export them to Web of Science to Zotero, and I did it. Quick click of a button, didn't type anything, it added it all there. So I'm building a collection of 10 or 20 things that I may look at 6, and I may decide these are the 3 that I want to use as well. Also in Zotero, download the app for it. Here's my essay, here's my title, here's my text, and then using this add or edit citations, I build my references automatically. Again, it's a life changer. So again, here's the databases, lots of them. The ones for computer science, the ones that you could use for this particular course and assignment. But search more than one database in different ways. There's no exact one way to do this. Use your natural language, words and phrases and keywords and acronyms as well. Use filtering by the language, meaning you want things usually in English, format, meaning you're looking at scholarly peer-reviewed articles, and date of results, how far back do you want to look at. But browsing or serendipity is a research methodology. Select, critically evaluate, read the articles, download them in PDF format on your mobile device, and use Zotero, Bib, or Zotero to track them as you move forward as well. Essentially, this is the strategy that you're going to use. And how we help this faculty do this, we help graduate and dissertation students do this. We help all sorts of researchers. How do you define your research topic or question? What do you want to do? That sometimes takes a lot of work. Identify key concepts and keywords like we did for our assignment. Build your search and think like the database. So search one database at a time using the context or the tools that they use as well. No search database is the same for each one. Run your search, evaluate results, and then refine your search strategy. Usually people find enough articles for your assignment. I don't think you'll have a problem, but they keep seeing the same sorts of things. So they know when they have too many or when they need to quit and jump and use the 4 or 5 that they're selected as part of this process. So refine your search as necessary. There we go. We're almost at the end of this. Citation management, a real key problem. We talked about Zotero and Zotero Bib. They're kind of related, but Zotero Bib is open and free. Just link to it, put it on your bookmark page. I use it 1,000 times a day. Zotero, download, register for it, put it on your workstation, your mobile device, look at the cloud account, your desktop account, or take a course we have in the library, or book a consultation. We can show you how to use it as well. We also have a citation management guide here that tells you how to use these and other sorts of things. We also have a collection of style guides, meaning how to use style, not only to do citations in text and reference citations, but how to write related to a particular standard. Computer science has some styles and standards. Always ask your professor what style you should use when you're creating any particular tool. What does it mean to be information literate? Well, to be information involves critical thinking, choice, and effective use of information. You're learning about this in this course, a great course. It is a developed skill essential for research and learning, meaning it'll grow and develop and you'll become better at it as you become better at doing research and writing. And it's expected for scholarship. Really, to be information literate is really important. An information literate individual is able to evaluate information, its sources critically, incorporate selected information into one's own knowledge base, and use the information effectively to accomplish a specific purpose. A great definition. Here's a graphic that I use and show to everyone. Information literate person can identify, so you can decide where Google, non-Google, library proprietary, natural language tools. You know what you're looking for. You've defined your research question. You can find it using the tools and resources, and I've given you many here. You can evaluate it, meaning critically thinking. Is it appropriate? Is it scholarly? Does it meet the need? And does it answer the research question I've identified? Then apply it. As you're doing a poster, you're doing a presentation, you're writing an essay, or you're just informing yourself to be informed for the next seminar that you use. And then acknowledge. Here's where the citation comes in. That's, in essence, how to be literate, and then transition from identifying a research question to applying it and improving your knowledge as well. Where, how, and when to get help. Well, we have tutorials in the library. So if you go to this URL, it's on our front page. What's a search strategy, scholarly, evaluating resource, what does peer review mean? They're clickable YouTube videos, and there's more of them there that you could use as well. They're great resources for a starting point if you just want an overview of how these things work. We have books in our library as well. And so I always ask, what books may be helpful? Now, you may be a great writer, a good presenter, formatting and putting style together. But here's 4 books that I point to people as well. And they're really neat. General for your appropriate level. And here's one, Writing for Computer Science. So if you looked at this book, you go, well, I think I'm okay. I don't need this. So let's look at the table of contents for this particular book. And there's 17 chapters. How to get started, reading and reviewing, how to use good style, writing a paper, how to use punctuation, grammar, algorithms, how to develop an idea, graphs. On the left-hand side, presentations, whether it be posters, slides, or maybe an in-class presentation. And then the last chapter is kind of ethics, intellectual creations, plagiarism. Oh, plagiarism is hugely important in university environments. Self-plagiarism, how to do it and when not to do it. Misrepresentation, and the ethics and a checklist for ethical content as well. So you looking at the book, you may think, I don't know if I want to use this word, but you may want to use a chapter or a section of this as well. I'd bookmark this page and use it all the time. Here's another book entitled Science Writing, Research Writing for Native and Non-English Speakers of English. English isn't your first language, or you just need a basic. There's lots of books like this, and this is a good one that I point to use. There's chapters on how to write a discussion, a conclusion, how to develop an abstract, how to write about methods and introduction, and produce your results as well. Again, quick dives in to help you to be informed, to be a better writer, researcher, and better student as well. Where, how, and when to get help. Well, there's the research guide Oh, it's not Rec and Leisure. Oh, I forgot to change that. Computer Science Research Guide. Email the library at any time. Usually email the library when things aren't working, or how do I, or they can help you with that. Ask us chat service. So every page of a library page has the chat widget, and chat widgets are kind of neat because it's a quick, I can't find this. Can you give me help with citation? And they're quick and dirty. It happens virtually all day, usually in the evening during busy times, and even on weekends as well. So I use the chat widget bot all the time as well. Or if you want to book a consultation, that works as well. And we're going to talk about book a consultation, but sorry about that Rec and Leisure Research Guide. You want to use the Computer Science Research Guide. So if you want to book an appointment, you want to meet with me or one of my colleagues, there's about 5 or 6 of us in the teaching and learning department. You pick a day and a time, and on the right-hand side, it meshes with my availability calendar. So if you pick on a half an hour book an appointment, it clicks and it says, who are you? Where's your email? What do you want to do? And there, as on the left-hand side, you can watch this video to how to get to my office if you want to do it in person. But it asks me, like, what are you doing? And an example may be, the professor said in Computer Science 1P50 to do this, and I didn't understand that. Or can you show me how to use Academic Search Premier? Or I'm not finding what I'm looking for. I need data, lots of sorts of things. And the last thing I would like to ask you, as a reminder, before you click on the confirm appointment, is do you want to meet virtually or using Teams? Either way works for me. We're quite comfortable doing both. We want you to be literate. We want you to be informed. We want you to be good students and know how to write, incorporate ideas, and use all the elements of computer science. That deals with all the collections, resources, and the people within the library. Hopefully this is you writing up your assignment using your mobile devices as well. So thanks for letting me in. Good luck with this assignment. This is who I am. Here I'm a runner, so there I am in Philadelphia on the Rocky Steps. If you email me, put in the computer science code or your code for your program or Brock Library in the subject line of an email. That way it doesn't go to my junk mail, and I'll get back to you at any time for anything. So good luck with this assignment. Reach out if you need some help.